Hello, welcome to my Socratic video. After reading Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell was definitely an experience, but it totally changed how the way I look at people, real life news, and everyday interactions. Basically, the book explores why humans are so terrible at understanding strangers. Gladwell explains that we rely on a true default bias, meaning we always assume people are telling the truth and we fall for that and thinking we can read someone else's mind just by looking at their faces. First of all, let's talk about the Ursula K. Le Guin's, the ones who walk away from Omelas. In my point of view, I look at how the entire city maintains happiness by keeping an innocent child locked up in a dark room. People chose to look the other way because it benefits their comfortable lifestyle. That connects to talking to the strangers because Gladwell shows how humans love to ignore uncomfortable truth and stick to simple lifestyles. Next, looking at William's Golding thinking as a hobby, my main claim was that true thinking isn't about being smart, it's about having the courage to seek the truth because most people rely on emotions and assumptions instead of critical thinking. Golding warned us against lazy grade 3 thinkers. Gladwell is pointing out the exact same lazy thinking when we interact with strangers. Instead of doing the hard work, we make judgment. We misjudge strangers based on our surface appearance. Then there is the Carl Vonnegut's Harrison Bergeron, where my claim focus on how the government forces people to wear handicap just to make everyone completely equal. In my analysis, I looked at how dangerous it is when a society destroys individually. In talking to strangers, we do something similar because we expect every single person to act according to a predictable script. If someone's behavior or emotional reaction doesn't match our narrow expectation, we judge them instantly. Moving on, Mark Twain's The Damn Human Race, my claim was the humans are actually the worst species because we intentionally choose to be cruel and greedy even though we know which is right from wrong. Twain argued that our supposed higher intelligence, our moral sense, is actually our biggest defect because it lets us plan out horrific things like war. This connects to the talking to strangers because Gladwell shows how our advanced social brains still make errors when trying to read others' people. As Green points out, we think we're smart, yet we constantly misread each other and cause distraction. Then looking at the Henry David Thoreau civil disobedience, my claim was that citizens should withdraw their support from government's unjust law, even if they have to face legal consequences like imprisonment. Thoreau argues that personal integrity matters more than blindly obeying the law. This connects to the Gladwell book because blindly following cultural or society script is what causes us to fall into the trap like the truth default bias. Just like Thoreau encouraged us to be a counter friction, to stop an unjust meshing, Gladwell encouraged us to stop relying on lazy and the habit one judging people and actually think for ourselves. Next, looking at the Plato's allegory of the cave, Plato shows how prisoners stare at the shadows on a wall, mistaking them for absolute reality. Gladwell's illusion of the transparency is the exact trap. We stare at the surface facial expressions, mistakes those shadows for deep truth, and get it totally wrong. For our whistleblower film, I watched Construction. In this film, the National Football League tried to hide the anomalous research on the football brain injuries because it challenged their comfortable worldwide. Just like in the Plato's Cave or the Gladwell book, people in power fought desperately to ignore the truth. To me, critical thinking means you don't just take things at face value. You have to pause and examine the actual context. Gladwell's book is a reminder of why critical thinking is so important because it stops us from making lazy and the judgments every single day. As what I like about book is that it's like a collection of like true crime stories and real world mysteries rather than a dry textbook. Cases like based on true story is pretty engaging. What I didn't like about it was because in a Gladwell's book, he jumps around between so many different historical cases and modern true crime stories, and it sometimes feels disorganized and hard to track his main point. I will recommend this book because it totally changed how we look at the people on everyday interaction, as well as teaching us to be more careful before judging somebody else. Thank you for listening.